Hey, today I'm talking about 3 movies that all fit into the very broad category of movies that were released before I was born. And the names of those 3 movies are Kramer vs. Kramer, Heaven Can Wait, and Love Is My Profession. First up is Kramer vs. Kramer, and this is a 1979 movie starring Dustin Hoffman, my 3rd one of him, and even though I don't really like her, it also stars Meryl Streep, my 4th one of her. Why do I watch so many Meryl Streep movies? Going in, I knew the premise was about a married couple in a custody battle for their son, so I thought it was gonna be more like equal-sided, that we're gonna see both sides of their case and it's gonna be kind of a Sophie's choice of where the child's gonna go. But it's not that. It's very Dustin Hoffman-sided, which I'm actually very okay with because the story was fantastic. I loved a lot of stuff that they did. I mean, with a big thing being just like it allowed dads to be the mom. It also normalizes just being emotional over your child. Like, it's okay for either parent to get emotional about the well-being of their child. Like, that's good, you can do that. What I was really blown away by though was Meryl Streep's character, which kind of pains me to say, but whatever. Meryl Streep's character, she was depressed, but it's kind of from nothing. They do give a lot of reasons for her depression, lots of good reasons, and they really justified her behavior in the movie, which I thoroughly appreciated. She's just being smart. She knows she doesn't want to be a mom. She wasn't destined to be a mom. Not everyone's supposed to be a mom. And she's not supposed to be a mom. I applaud her character so much for being able to recognize the fact that, like, if she were to stay in this motherly role, it would be a detriment to the child. If the general population had that level of intelligence, it would save so many children years of abuse. Not that I think Meryl Streep's character was really gonna abuse the child. It's just, don't be a parent if you're not suited for it. I strongly believe that so many people would be so much more happier with their lives if they didn't have kids. So Meryl Streep's character really struck a chord with me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie and I definitely recommend it. If you want a good, heartwarming, but heart-wrenching movie at times, it's definitely worth a watch. And it's just, yeah, it lives up to the hype. It's a great movie. Next up is Heaven Can Wait. This is a 1978 movie starring Warren Beatty. He also co-directed it, co-wrote it, and produced it. It is about a football player on his way to the Super Bowl when he accidentally gets killed. But once he gets to not quite heaven, they realize, oh no, you weren't supposed to die, and they go back to put him in his body, but oh no, the body's gone. So now we have to put you in someone else's body. And then hilarity ensues. And I say that not sarcastically. This movie is hilarious. It's so dang funny and also heartwarming and just a good fun time. I went into this movie with very low expectations. I looked at that poster and I was like, but I gave it a shot and it was terrific. I do think he made this film so he could like live out his childhood fantasy of being in the Super Bowl / just a professional football player. There's so many football montages in this, it's kind of ridiculous. But even with that, this movie's great. It's just a good fun time. I don't really have any complaints about it. I do think they do have like some interesting afterlife ideas and like there's different like moral questions that I had that like they could have explored more. But lucky for me, this movie's actually a remake and there's been remakes of it afterwards. There's a ton of versions of this movie, is basically what I'm trying to say, with one of the most recent ones being Down to Earth, starring Chris Rock, a movie I've actually been thinking about watching for a while, and now I'm probably gonna watch it. At least one of those versions probably deal with the moral, ethical, or scientific questions that I have with the silly premise of this movie. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie a bunch. I definitely recommend it if you want a good, fun time. You do kind of have to accept the cheesiness for what it is, but once you do that, it's a fun ride. And lastly is Love is My Profession. This is a 1958 French movie starring Brigitte Bardot. This movie is kind of awesome. It's about this young 20-something woman who robs a store with her friend, gets caught, goes to trial, and then she falls in love, maybe, with her lawyer, and then she has like a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship with him, kind of. And like the wife not only knows about it, but encourages it, even though she's also emotionally destroyed by the whole thing that's happening. Her story is just great. I really love everything that happens there. And then like halfway through the movie, we get introduced to Brigitte Bardot's boyfriend, who's super jealous and really controlling and maybe a bit psychotic. And it's just, the movie's so dark. It's great. It's also paced like a modern movie, which I just love. If it wasn't for like a few musical cues and then something about the sex scenes, this would feel like a modern movie. You would think this is just a modern movie in black and white for funsies. But just to go into the sex scene stuff, because that's the part that like confused me and kind of brought it down a little bit, because like there is nudity in this movie. It happens twice. What's confusing about the sex scenes is that like it's implied that people are having sex, because like they'll passionately start making out and then like lay down and it fades to black and then it'll fade back up again like, oh, they just did it. But at least one of the times that happened, and when it faded back up, the dude was still wearing his three-piece suit. She was still wearing like her nightgown thing. Their hair looked unruffled. The bed looked still made. So it was like nothing happened. I think we were supposed to still believe that they had had sex. Like it didn't actually get cut short or anything. Also, speaking of sex, there's a part where Brigitte Bardot's character is worried that her sugar daddy isn't into her anymore. So she hires a maid that she then convinces to have sex with her sugar daddy just to make sure that he still has interest in her. And I'm like, this is the 50s, man. This is amazing. Like, I can't believe this is happening right now in 1958. This is incredible. Oh my God. So, while talking about this movie, I'm a little surprised I didn't put it in the really liked category, but I think it's mostly just from being a little confused by it. I think the next time I watch it, I'm gonna put it up even higher because it's really great. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one as well. Like I said, it feels like a modern movie. So just like, if all the sexy shenanigans that I talked about sounds like your jam, go for this movie because it's good. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Kramer versus Kramer, sitting at number 27 in the really liked category. And then not too far behind is Heaven Can Wait, sitting at number 43, also in the really liked category. And then bringing up the rear is Love Is My Profession, sitting at number 60 in the quite like section. And this is out of a total of 182 old movies so far this year, and out of a grand total of 218 movies so far this year.